What if Conor McGregor never broke his leg against Dustin Poirier? This was a moment that took 5 years off his MMA career, and it could have easily been the end of his career. But McGregor is finally back, and he is going to be taking on Max Holloway in a massive rematch. But what if Conor McGregor never broke his leg? What would have happened in those 5 years? Let's talk about it. Assuming that Conor McGregor doesn't break his leg with the 8 seconds left on the clock, the round would have ended and both fighters go back into their corner and they get ready for the second round. As the fight goes on, McGregor continuously tries to keep the fight at a kicking range and occasionally try to catch Dustin Poirier coming in with some big shots, but it's not really having an effect on Dustin. He's able to see the shots coming, brace for them, and even avoid and counter them at some points. And the respect that Dustin had for McGregor in the second fight is almost completely gone. He realizes that he can take Conor's biggest shots, while Conor, on the other hand, seems to have some trouble taking the shots of Poirier. Dustin continues to crack him right on the jaw, and McGregor is starting to slow down a little bit. His game isn't quite as effective, and eventually, in the fourth round, Dustin Poirier TKOs Conor McGregor once again, putting an end to a historic rivalry. After this, Dustin Poirier would go on to fight Charles Oliveira for the undisputed lightweight title, while Conor McGregor would finally fight Tony Ferguson, who was now on a 3-fight losing streak after suffering a brutal loss to Justin Gaethje, then to Oliveira and Beneil Dariush. He would square up against Conor McGregor, but unfortunately for Tony, he would get his beat by Conor McGregor. Conor is motivated, he's hungry, and he essentially recreates a Cowboy Cerrone type of performance with a vintage first-round KO over Tony Ferguson. In early 2022, Conor McGregor demands a quick turnaround, and the UFC will grant him that wish by booking him against Dan Hooker in March at UFC London in a main event. The fight starts, and right away McGregor is like a bull. He's taking charge, he's bullying Dan Hooker, backing him up. Hooker tries to stay at range, uses feints, uses leg kicks, uses body kicks, but McGregor is defending it. He's taunting him right in his face, and at the same time he's throwing shattering shots to Hooker's face and to Hooker's body. Hooker is just getting backed up the whole time, and the air is getting thinner for Hooker. He struggles to breathe. McGregor learned from the Edson Barboza fight, and he's right on Hooker's face. He also learned from the Chandler fight. He's staying in his face, keeping that pressure up, and McGregor times a beautiful uppercut to the body, shattering Hooker's liver, and eventually he has no choice but to drop. That is a punch that would have floored anybody in the UFC, and McGregor is on a 2-fight winning streak. And 2 months later, Justin Gaethje and Oliveira would fight, so McGregor knows this, so he wastes no time on the microphone and he calls out Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje. Whoever wins the fight, he wants to fight them at the end of the year.
I would go for that lightweight belt. The lightweight belt, of course. Okay. Oliveira, the Brazilian.
Okay.
Then we'll look to replicate. We'll go back up weight divisions and whatnot.
2 months later, at UFC 274, Charles Oliveira would go on to finish Justin Gaethje in an electric first round. And Oliveira would then go on the microphone and he would respond to Conor McGregor in the following way.
Ei, Danote, olha só. Eu não quero saber o nome, contra quem é, onde vai ser. Você falou que podia escolher, né? Conor McGregor, você vai vir ou você vai correr?
After this and some back and forth online, the UFC would return to Brazil at UFC 280, and the original Abu Dhabi card now becomes a fight night headlined by Islam Makachev and Beneil Dariush. During the build-up of the title fight, McGregor vows to knock out Charles Oliveira at the press conference, while Oliveira promises to put McGregor to sleep either by knockout or by submission, and he's saying that McGregor will not leave Brazil conscious. But fight night is here, and both fighters rush to the center of the cage, and right away you can see that it's going to be an explosive and quick fight. So McGregor starts out with a powerful left hand that gets smothered by Charles Oliveira as Oliveira ties him up and digs into his ribcage with nasty knees. But McGregor recovers and he's clipping Charles Oliveira with some massive punches and counter shots that would have floored any lightweights. It was almost surprising to see Charles Oliveira get back up so many times after being dropped by McGregor and staying composed and staying in the fight. But McGregor is putting a lot behind these shots. and Oliveira stays in the fight. He stays composed and he finds his way back up to his feet. And when he does, he has his best moments when he's in the clinch, when he's up close and really digging those knees to the body of McGregor, and also landing some shots off the break that really seems to be slowing McGregor down. And as we get into the third round, McGregor gets a third win and he lands a big elbow, dropping Oliveira. But unfortunately for him, he tries to finish it. He is desperate, but Oliveira is able to reverse the position. And in the scramble, Oliveira is eventually able to get to McGregor's back. McGregor already being fatigued, already being tired, really not having any much more left in the tank, and having a black belt on the level of Charles Oliveira. The tap out is inevitable, and Charles Oliveira retains his undisputed lightweight title in an incredible fight. In early 2023, McGregor announces that he's done with the lightweight division and he is officially moving to 170 pounds. And the first fight that is booked for him is Jorge Masvidal in April of 2023 at UFC 287 in Miami, which is Jorge Masvidal's hometown. This fight will take place 1 month after the welterweight title fight, the trilogy between Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. So Leon just happens to win that fight, and right after the fight, he says this.
And he'll be looking for a fight.
That man sat out for like a year and a half, 2 years. He ain't fought nobody. I'm a trip to Miami. See what them two autos are going on with. See what's going on from there.
Leon Edwards shut down the idea of a Colby Covington fight, and he heads to Miami to watch McGregor versus Masvidal, a fight that is billed as a #1 contender fight. Whoever wins this will take on the welterweight champion Leon Edwards. Of course, Leon has history with Masvidal, and McGregor is the biggest name in the sport, and he could be on his way to making history by becoming the first 3-division champion.
63% of the money at DraftKings is riding with you. The people out here, we want to know, is we getting the job done on Saturday?
Put the house on it. It's time we clean out Vegas one more time, everybody. All the goons know what I'm talking about. Let go.
Personal game. I mean, he's fucking for nobody. Absolutely nobody. Anyone that he's half for has been decisions. He's in over his head. I'm going to pick him apart and bully him in there and absolutely maul him.
Both fighters promised a win. Both fighters promised violence and a knockout, but only Conor McGregor delivered. And he goes out there and he finishes Jorge Masvidal in the second round. He's just sharper, faster, and a little bit more powerful than Jorge, who hasn't quite been the same since Kamaru Usman knocked him out. But now, Conor McGregor is in a great spot to fight for the undisputed welterweight title and become the first man to win a belt in 3 different weight classes. And Leon Edwards seems to like that idea as well.
Yeah. Next up could be a certain Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Is that a fight you want?
I thought that's a great fight for the audience, and it's massive. Why not? You know what I mean? Like that's the fight that will get everyone talking, and it's an entertaining fight, and to give him a chance to win a third belt, I think it'd be brilliant.
It could be New York?
New York, MSG. Wow. So to get Conor McGregor and to headline Madison Square Garden, such an iconic venue, it'd be brilliant. Wow. Why not?
Instead of Colby Covington versus Leon Edwards, we get Conor McGregor versus Leon Edwards at UFC 295 in New York, Madison Square Garden, the same arena where Conor McGregor initially made history by becoming the first simultaneous 2-division champion, and now he's going to try to become the first 3-division champion. But the fight starts, and Leon Edwards is having success with his kicks. He's throwing leg kicks and stabbing front kicks to McGregor's body. He attempts to keep him at a good range, and as he's doing well, he doesn't realize that McGregor has already confirmed how he's going to KO Leon Edwards. In the tape, Conor noticed that anytime Leon faces a southpaw, he throws a wide right hook to counter the jabs, and that leaves an opening for a 2 right behind the jab, and that's exactly what Nate Diaz used to nearly knock out Leon Edwards, and McGregor sees that exact same opening. And also, Conor has learned from the Dustin Poirier trilogy, and now he's got a much better kicking and defense system that allows him to deal with the kicks of Leon and close the distance effectively to get his pocket boxing off, because that is where he has the biggest advantage over Leon. And in the 4th round, McGregor finally finds the shot. He lands a devastating 1-2 right on Leon Edwards' jaw, spinning his head. A punch that would have floored light heavyweights. This was devastating. Leon Edwards tried to fight his way back into the fight, but the referee had no choice but to stop the fight. With that, McGregor becomes the first man in history to hold a title in 3 different weight classes.
This is what I dreamed into reality. Oh, that looks good. That looks good.
After a historic 2023 where McGregor would end the year and party all the way up until May of 2024, he was finally set to return in July at UFC 304, and his opponent would be the undefeated phenom Shavkat Rakhmonov. This guy had 18 victories, 18 finishes, by far one of Conor McGregor's toughest opponents, but McGregor didn't care. He said, sign the contract, bring him here. And McGregor dismisses Shavkat's record, claiming that Shavkat hasn't fought anybody on his level and that he will make quick work of Rakhmonov and the fight will end in the first round.
Would you believe he's 26-0? I've never met an unbeaten amateur in the professional game. I mean, he's fucking fought nobody, absolutely nobody.
In the fight, McGregor would be proven to be right, as this fight does not go past the first round. But it doesn't go for the first round because Conor McGregor gets knocked out by Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov towers over Conor McGregor. He stands at 6'1", whilst Conor McGregor is about 5'9". And you can see in the fight, McGregor struggles to find his range. He tries to get in close and use his traditional slips to counter his opponent, but he's not able to. Like, Shavkat actually sets up a beautiful trap. He overcommits on a couple right hands, and not only does he overcommit, but he stays in range. He's expecting Conor to try to slip and counter, and McGregor slips a couple times, but on the third time, he tries it, and he thinks he has a trap set for Shavkat. He doesn't. He actually is walking into a trap because he slips the right hand, but right behind it is a filthy head kick from Shavkat Rakhmonov that rattles the brain of Conor, and he's done. He cannot recover from this kick, and McGregor suffers the most humiliating and fastest loss of his entire career in the first round, and a lot of speculation starts to come in. Was he partying too much? Was he taking the fight seriously? What was going on in McGregor's camp? And all these things added up, and it just led to this emphatic conclusion. And just like that, McGregor went from being the first 3-division champion to getting knocked out in the first round. The first time in his career he gets done like this in the first round. And McGregor will not make the headlines up until December of 2024. But it's not fight related. It's because he gets accused of assault from Nikita Hand on charges that happen in real life, but they are going to happen in this timeline as well. It doesn't look good for McGregor. I mean, he gets accused of cheating on his wife while she was pregnant, and he gets accused of doing inappropriate things without consent to this Nikita Hand person. And McGregor will have to settle like that whole situation before he can think about coming back. And obviously all the partying and all that, he needs to get sorted out because he is clearly not right. He needs some focus and direction if he wants to come back to his full potential. Even though he is getting older, he still looks good in there. During his time off, McGregor has a lot of time to think about his performance against Shavkat Rakhmonov and the whole Nikita Hand situation with the accusations. And McGregor starts to reflect, and McGregor finally returns and he announces that he is changing for the better and he will be back in the octagon.
I'm not here. I am not here just by chance. There is a higher power, God, that dictates my journey and all of our journeys. And I live my life by God's word. And since around that time that you mentioned at the last event, I've engaged on a spiritual journey. And I'm saved, I am healed. And, you know.
After this, McGregor would announce that he is fighting in June against Joaquin Buckley because Joaquin Buckley had gone on a microphone and disrespected Conor McGregor and his family.
Who do you want next? Yes. Look here. Who do I want next, huh? And there's only one name you should call out if you're on this mic, a powerful name. That name is Conor McGregor. I want you. Come and bully me, dog. Come and bully me. And let's see what you're really about. I did research on the McGregor name. And you come from a long line to make hoe. Your daddy was a hoe. No. Your granddaddy was a hoe. No. Your great-great-grandparent was a hoe. So I guess it's safe to say your mama raised a hoe. And guess what? If you don't respond, and I bet the money I ain't even got, bet you won't. The whole world know I'm telling the truth. It's my time. And if you want to be the king, you gotta behead the king. It's time to take the throne.
After hearing this, Conor McGregor was furious. He was fuming and he could not wait to get his hands on Joaquin Buckley. This fight was very personal. Obviously, you talk about somebody's mom, you talk about someone's dad, you talk about someone's grandma, you talk about someone's last name, their lineage, you gotta fight. And it's on site, and McGregor kept that same energy. And he said,
Conor McGregor is going to
Stomp on his head as he's unconscious.
There it is.
the fight is booked at UFC 317, but it's not the main event and it's not a 5-round fight. It's actually the feature fight. It's a 3-round fight, and the main event is Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight title, and obviously Alexander Pantoja versus Kai Kara-France as a co-main event. And the feature fight is Conor McGregor versus Joaquin Buckley, a 3-round fight as requested from McGregor. And despite being 36 years old, Conor McGregor is still able to avoid the big shots from Joaquin Buckley, who is telegraphing a little bit and he's like loading up heavily on his shots. But McGregor is able to see and evade these shots and continuously chop the legs of Joaquin Buckley. And also, he is able to time Buckley coming in with some big counter punches. But Buckley, being that he's a former middleweight and he is a big welterweight, he is able to take some of these shots from McGregor. But McGregor is able to comfortably outbox Joaquin Buckley, and he's having a lot of success with his uppercuts, and he's fighting to end the fight, but unfortunately he's not able to. The fight ends and McGregor gets himself a 30-27 decision victory over Joaquin Buckley, who was one win away from getting a title shot. But now that puts McGregor back in the talks of being in line for a title, because he was the former champion, and the champion Shavkat Rakhmonov has beaten Bilal Muhammad in December of 2024. Then in early 2025 he beat Ian Gary, and he also beat Jack Della Maddalena. But unfortunately in August of 2025, Shavkat Rakhmonov was forced to vacate his title due to several knee injuries that he sustained from his opponents. Obviously he had very tough opponents and guys who were targeting his legs, so he had some nasty injuries and he needed to undergo surgery. And at the same time, Islam Makachev was scheduled to fight Kamaru Usman in November of 2025, because Kamaru Usman had just beaten Sean Brady, who beat Leon Edwards, and Islam Makachev was able to beat Kamaru Usman, who's just a little bit too sharp on the feet, and he was getting some takedowns but not having too much success on the ground. But ultimately the fight will be a quite exciting decision to close off the year for Islam Makachev. McGregor was coming off a win. Islam Makachev had just become the undisputed welterweight champion. There was no other contender who was coming off a win at the time, so the UFC decides to make Conor McGregor versus Islam Makachev at International Fight Week of 2026 in July. And this was promoted as the second biggest fight in UFC history. Ireland versus Dagestan 2. Conor McGregor versus Khabib's successor, Islam Makachev, who is supposed to be a better version of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Can Conor do it? And can Conor complete his redemption arc, not only by avenging that Khabib Nurmagomedov loss that a lot of people argue broken, but can he be the pound-for-pound king? And can he overcome every single thing he had to go through in 2024 and reclaim the welterweight title and become the only man in history to not only win a title in 3 different weight classes, but win that title multiple times? My answer is that we will never know, and anything could have happened in this timeline. This has been my take on what would have happened if Conor McGregor never broke his leg. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think would have happened if Conor McGregor would have never broke his leg? But thank you guys for watching. God bless. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.
Peace in our time.